So, at the very least, the series is available on Crunchyroll, and it's a beautiful fan wiki that you can go in if you don't have a lot of time to sit down and watch. Because I definitely, uh, after I did the audition, I found out I got cast maybe like a week before I had to start recording, so I didn't have a super ton of time. Um, but, I was able to dive in just a little bit and be like, okay, who are these characters? What's going on? Who's Gobta? Because I knew from the audition that like Gobta was going to be a character that I was going to be chatting with a bunch and that we were going to be sniping at each other a little bit. So I wanted to have a little bit of an understanding of who he was. But what's beautiful about the movie as well is that you don't need to have watched all three seasons leading up to it in order to understand it. It's a very self-contained story. There might be little characters to the side where you're like, who's that person? They seem important. But for the most part, it's very, very accessible to a new fan in general. And I actually hope, much like me, that it gets more people excited about the show itself, like seeing the movie gets them excited about the show and makes them go, "Oh, I want to sit down and watch this," because it's a really cool show, and getting to work on the movie has gotten me so excited about the series as a whole. And I'm really excited to like go back and like watch when Gobta's first introduced so that I can really appreciate his growth as a character. Seeing like little baby Gobta before he became the Gobta that I get to know so fondly in Tears of the Azure Sea.
So I had worked with the director that started off the series, Cliff. I had worked with him on another series called Darling in the Franxx,
Oh.
and I was a character named Zorome, and he was so perfect. He was obnoxious, but you could tell that he had a heart, and I had so much fun on that. And I think that it's sort of like the characters are kind of similar in how they behave. And so I feel like it was sort of a natural progression.
Mhm.
Gopta, I think Gopta, I think, is a little bit more, I don't know, he's sweet. Gopta's sweet. Zorome was kind of an antagonist a little bit, but
Mhm.
um so that I don't know. To me, they almost feel like it's like a natural progression. And then uh you know, for Gobta, like I love voicing anybody that's like obnoxious and silly. And so it was just he was just perfect for like everything I wanted to do. I get to have a little bit of action, you know.
Mm.
I'm like my first anime love ever was Dragon Ball Z. And
Mm.
so I feel like I get to like, almost like through Gobta like feel what it's like a little bit to have a little bit of that action while still having the comedy. And so he kind of came to me. I didn't really like, I didn't know he was there, and then he just kind of like came into my orbit. And
Did you audition for him, or was it
actually I didn't end up, I don't,
wow.
this is a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I did or not.
I see.
But yeah, like
It's funny when the characters come to you without the audition and you're like, this character has arrived in my life, and
yeah,
this is it feels like an accident, a happy accident that you're getting to portray this character that you had
yeah.
no idea was in your future,
Well,
you
in the
know?
beginning too, I don't think anybody knew what he was going to become. It was just
Hmm.
he's a sort of a bit role. He has a couple of lines. Is he going to stick around? And I guess people that were reading the manga knew, but I didn't really. I didn't know. I loved, I do used to read some manga, but I love the medium of watching it. Watching it on screen, and so I don't know if that answered your question. I feel like I meandered a bit.
Not your character, but each of your character.
So like Yura's fascination with Gobta and Gobta's fascination with
The
Yura,
same.
or
Yeah, right.
yeah. I think for Yura it was I think she would never admit it, but I think she likes a character, like she likes someone who challenges her a little bit,
Mm,
not to the point where it's, an antagonistic thing the way that you see with other characters in the film. But as long as they're on the same side and someone is willing to just kind of push back at her a little bit, I think that's something that she finds very like fun and a little challenging. And I think she likes that little bit of challenge. I don't think she wants to just, sit back. But then the respect that develops as a result. They challenge each other and, they're like, oh, well, I'm like they underestimate each other mutually, I think. But then they have moments where they see the other be impressive and be smart and have depth. And from there, this really genuine respect blossoms where it's like, oh, I underestimated you and you are
mm,
so much more layered than I thought you were going to be. Which I think is really appropriate for Gobta in particular as a character because again, he just has this like little guy energy. He's funny, he's all of this, and in this he gets to be the lead and have a really beautiful arc and a really beautiful story and a lot of growth. But yeah, I think it's kind of a mutual thing where they underestimate each other, and then Yura really appreciates the fact that Gopta's got her back too.
mm.
Like challenges her, but at the end of the day, like has her back, and that is a really important thing for her.
How about you,
I,
Ryan? Yeah.
well, I think it's very easy to see how Gobta would have feelings for Yura. I mean,
She's a very pretty lady.
she's a very pretty lady.
He
She
shines
can
there, right?
she is like she can fight. She's funny. I think in the beginning, obviously he doesn't trust her, and so I think also there's probably an element that I feel like he probably closes off to her in the fact that she's way out of his league. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that there was ever a moment for at least the first, I don't know, half of their time together where he ever even thought looked at her that or allowed himself to look at her that way because why would like
Yeah.
but then there's like there's a few moments where they have this connection and I think it's like that door kind of opens a little bit and then he allows himself to see himself in that situation with her and I think
And be really
that
vulnerable too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they have such a great dynamic too. Just when when they're fighting together, they're playing off of each other, there's a
Yeah.
connection. And yeah, so I think for him it blooms out of like realizing that, oh, okay, there is a connection here. There maybe like maybe I am I making this up? I think there is always a little bit of a is this real? But I don't know. I think it makes it all the more exciting, especially because in the beginning he's like, I'm gonna get myself a girlfriend, and like he's just playing around, and then he doesn't just get himself like some superficial like summer fling. Like it's like a deep relationship that he
Mhm.
builds, and I think that makes it more special.
So we're always listening to the original Japanese before we do any of our lines. It gives us a sense of tone, volume, like all the context that we need as performers to best adapt the scene into English. Um, so we're always listening to what makes the Japanese performance special so that we know how to take that and put it in English and make it American English. And what I loved about Yura's Seiyu and what she brought to it was this, again, this like, it was her playfulness. Like she was so playful, a little refined, like refined and playful at the same time was this like wonderful little dichotomy where you can tell she's a priestess. She has the ability to be very refined, but at her core, she's still a very like kind of playful person. She's of the people. She's she's like hanging out with the kids and playing the flute for them. She can be kind of goofy with Gobta and with seeing the world, a new world for her and experiencing things that she's never experienced. And I think Hershey really captured that so beautifully that I was like, all right, like yes, yes, yes. Like let me play with that. Let me play with that.
Uh, I think it's everything. So, Gapta is a little unpredictable sometimes, right?
Mhm.
Like he can very quickly go from being, like screaming or just doing something nuts, and then it on turn on a dime and be very serious. And so for me, like that helps me. It like um helps me understand him better, especially in the moment, especially with as quick as like we need to kind of assimilate what we're supposed to be saying, what the situation that we're supposed to be in. And so it's the essence, right? Like it helps me understand him as a character so much better.
Mm.
Ooh. Um,
Maybe put you in a spot, but because I
no,
think it's interesting element in this actually film.
as far as Yura goes, other like media things, it's that very pun intended fish out of water
Mm.
thing that she goes through as someone who is literally from an undersea kingdom and experiencing the overworld for the first time. So it gave me a little bit of like a sort of Disney princess, almost like Giselle from Enchanted, like, oh,
Right,
what's
right,
this?
right,
Oh, what's this? Oh, what's this?
right.
Mixed with a little bit of like Ariel as well, for sure, from The Little Mermaid.
Mm.
Um, there's definitely a little that. It's a little bit of a fairy tale as well with her. I mean, fantasy definitely has that kind of like, fairy tale element at times. That definitely with her story, there's a bit of a fairy tale element too. Um, yeah. And then,
That's an
uh,
interesting observation.
yeah, it's for sure I'd say as far as like media touch points, like and storytelling touch points, I would say that is a big influence of her character, but then also like uh aspects of like that I know something is the wrong decision, but I am not in a position to do anything about it because the people in charge will not listen to me. So, what can I do to better the situation? Who can I call on? What can I do instead? Because, my people are making a mistake
Mm.
and they will not listen to me. I think, without getting too specific about the state of the world, feels very true to form right now. And I think I think it is a very relatable concept in either from a larger socio-political standpoint, but also just in life. Sometimes your boss doesn't want to listen to you, and you're like, that's the wrong decision, and you're not listening to me, and that frustration feels very real. That is a very real thing.
Yes.
I think for me, the parallels I kind of see, it- I talk a lot about how like I feel like Gapta like matures a lot, but I feel like something that I think a lot of people relate to is this, Gapta's small, he's sort of childlike, and so he doesn't get taken seriously a lot.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's that whole thing of, being a kid and wanting people to take you seriously, or even being a young adult and being in your first job. And it's like until you're like 30 years old, nobody's going to take you seriously. But like there's like power there, and there's knowledge. And the other, he's not necessarily in a personality way, but he's always kind of reminded me a little bit of Krillin from Dragon Ball Z, and that like
Oh
he's
yeah.
little, but sometimes, man, he really surprises you,
Mhm.
like Krillin, he's not one of the most powerful, he's not as powerful as Goku and the other Saiyans, but he can still like hold his own, and that's like Gapta. You
Yeah.
underestimate because of his stature, But really, like he'll surprise you. He's got a lot going for him.
And he finds love too.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He really does. Totally.
Oh, I'd go to Pokemon. Honestly, I just want to, if I can have a Pokemon in real life, that'd be pretty neat for me. Especially because, there are some large stakes in that world, but it's not like life or death the same way that a lot of other series are. Like, I would not want to reincarnate into some of the worlds that I have portrayed in anime that I've been in as an actor because there's a lot of death. I wouldn't make it. I would not make it.
How about you?
Dragon Ball Z. I mean, like I always identified with Gohan, and honestly, Gohan is like my like inspiration from childhood. Like I can, if you trace back to how I got into voice acting, it was because of Dragon Ball Z, and Gohan specifically was who I felt, and now, like, that's kind of the role that I do the most. So like,
Mhm.
and also like I want to be a Super Saiyan really bad, really, really bad.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to be Super Saiyan. Yes. Thank you so much your time, Allegra and Ryan. I had a good time talking to you.
せっかくの慰安旅行だ。思いっきり満喫するぞ。バカンスにやってきた俺たち。しかしこの海には重大な秘密がある。
このままでは我が国は崩れてしまう。水流様を目覚めさせればよいのです。
水流様の力はね、この海に生きるみんなを守る力なの。
海援国のためです。
その笛は貴様が持つべきものではない。
水流の復活だ。
まさか。
魔王どもなど恐るるに足りず。
なんかヤバいことになってんじゃない。思ったより厄介な相手のようじゃな。
海がある限り決して滅びはしない。
なんだって。